The man is the head. And so now you leave your wife to do all the dirty work for you when you were supposed to be the one with the guns at the door blazing.
Wow.
We now live in a world where I personally believe that men are far more feminine than ever before.
You're a sassy man. As soon as one thing where they don't want to be held accountable, you're sassy.
No.
Absolutely. Well, how could he not be? He dating a drag queen.
Men are not covering anybody. That's a responsible grown man thing, to be a husband and a father. Y'all ask women all the time, why you ain't married? But people don't ask men that.
They don't.
They don't ask men that because, you know, they like to make women feel like they're not on the level of getting married, anybody wanting to be with them.
So why do women today want to be so separated? But because society has shaped us to believe I can do bad all by myself.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, a little bit of house cleaning before we get started. For those who've been rocking with me from day one, I appreciate the support. For those who may be new here, coming in or out the door, for me, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get it cracking in the comments. Every bit of your engagement helps promote me into the YouTube algorithm. I thank y'all for the support. Now, let's get to it. Drop the video. Let's go. Y'all know how we do it.
The man is the head. And so now you leave your wife to do all the dirty work for you when you were supposed to be the one with the guns at the door blazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so men always, you know, they say things like, well, what qualifies her? She's a woman. She shouldn't be doing this. Well, if you was to put on your balls and do your job, I could sit in the front seat of the church with my cute church hat on and not do any of the work. You see what I'm saying? So like, we're not going to act like this. And that's pride, right? Any man in here right now saying, oh, this is a woman conversation. This is not for men. And you the one digging everybody down. They were talking about the spirit of pride now, that you think that this doesn't apply to you. You're full of pride. You're the one that this applies to the most. You're the ones that's ruining your family and your bloodline. That's why marriages are failing, because men don't know what their position is. You no longer play the head. You want to wear the skirt. You want to be the passenger princess. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when people do that. I don't like that. I don't like it.
You stupid.
Marriages are failing because both men and women don't know their position. That's just the truth of it. Women are masculine, uncooperative, and a lot of times come with a lot of biological baggage. Men are being raised to be effeminized, weak, men who can't protect, provide, or lead because they're being raised by the majority of single-led mother households. So it's a dual problem from both women and men. So to act and feign as if it's just a man's problem is ridiculous. Second thing is, women initiate 70% of divorces, 90% of divorces if they are educated. It's not men who are breaking up their family structure, it's actually women, because women a lot of times have incentives
Go on.
to break up their marriages because they know they'll get the goodies at the end. Women are incentivized to not stay in marriages when they get tough because they don't have to through no fault divorce. So to act as if men are just walking out of marriages, men are just walking out on their families is ridiculous and it's asinine, because we all know that's not the truth. Are there a percentage of men, maybe a small percentage of men, who just go out for a pack of cigarettes or a carton of milk and never return? Maybe, sure, but that's not the totality of the reality of the situation. The situation is women are initiating divorces for whatever reasons they choose. It's women who are breaking their families. That's the reality. So this woman can try to obfuscate as much as she likes to put all of the blame at the feet of men, when we know it is women who are breaking up their marriages and their relationships.
Nah, gang, I'm not fucking with that.
Women fought to be equal. Women fought to play the position of the leader. And in the gynocratic community of the black community, women are the heads of household 9 times out of 10 because they want to be, not because they've been put upon to be the head of households. They choose these positions, just like they choose to be single mothers. Cut the crap. Stop trying to put all the blame at the feet of black men when both black men and women are responsible for the breaking of the black community. Let's go to the next one.
We now live in a world where I personally believe that men are far more feminine than ever before, and women are far more masculine than ever before. And it is destroying families. It is destroying relationships, and it is truly destroying our future, because that's what's raising our children for the future. So what do you think about men being more feminine? Do you think that that's true or untrue?
I definitely think there's some sassafras.
Oh, girl.
Okay, there's some sassafras happening. But what I do think is that women are just using it as a scapegoat.
Ooh, break
As
that
soon
down.
as they don't get their high expectations met, it's you must be gay.
Oh,
You're a sassy man. As soon as one thing where they don't want to be held accountable, you're sassy.
no.
Absolutely.
No.
I see it too often. And I'm just like, you berated that man.
Oh,
You expected that man to literally do so much for you before he even got to see what you look like without makeup and a wig on.
ooh.
And now he's sassy. Well, how could he not be? He dating a drag queen.
God damn!
Oh, we dead today. We sniping today. That's what we doing.
Because it's getting ridiculous. It really is. Stop berating our men. If y'all want them to be good men, treat them like good men.
Look, I feel it's far too easy nowadays to emasculate and to disrespect black men in particular. I think women have become quite acclimated to the emasculation of black men. And despite all the funniness she said at the end, it is far too easy nowadays for women to call men sassy because men expect reciprocity. Men expect to be treated the same in a relationship. Whoa, I know that's a hard pill to swallow, that men actually want reciprocity. Men actually want to be matched with their same effort. That effort may look different from the woman's end, but we still want the same effort. We still want the same energy matched. It doesn't have to be the same things because, quite frankly, men and women bring different things that are tangible to the relationship and things that are intangible to the relationship. So I don't believe that healthy men are expecting the same things that they bring to the relationship from a masculine end, from the feminine end. But I do think men want reciprocity in the form of however they may look from the feminine end. That's up to the individuals in the relationship. But let me also say this. Calling men sassy because they don't meet your expectations, because I've said this before, expectations and standards are two completely different things. Women nowadays don't have standards, they have expectations. And no one has to abide by your expectations but yourself. And to call men sassy because they can't live up to some pseudo expectations you may have is ridiculous. And y'all gotta really stop labeling men as sassy because they expect reciprocity. Get out of here. Go to the next one.
Men are not covering anybody. That's a responsible grown man thing, to be a husband and a father. Y'all ask women all the time, why you ain't married? But people don't ask men that.
They don't.
They don't ask men that because, they like to make women feel like they're not on the level of getting married, anybody wanting to be with them. When a girl is dating a guy for 6 years, the family is asking her, why he ain't married you yet? But nobody's asking that boy, hey, why you ain't married her yet? What's your problem? Why the men in the family haven't come to him and say, hey, man, what's your issue? You gonna marry her or not? Or you gonna make her a whore for 6, 7, 8 years? Where the daddies at? Where the big brothers at? That step up to these men and say, you done had a kid with her? Y'all live together? Why won't you marry my sister, my cousin? What is up with you, man? So you just gonna whore around on her like that? You gonna sleep with her but not actually make it official? You're not gonna actually cover her for real? You gonna fake cover her? Because these men are not covering anybody. That's a responsible grown man thing, to be a husband and a father and take care of your family in your house. That's grown man business. And we don't have enough men deciding to step into grown man business and say, I can cover a wife and I can cover children and I can take care of them. Men are running from that. They don't want the responsibility of that.
You can't make this shit up.
Well, first of all, in the black community, we have both men and women doing shit ass backwards. That's why none of this stuff works. We want to change the recipe of success to what we want it to be. And how's that working out? So you have women like this, women of this ilk, that'll get on podcasts and say things like this: men are not covering. Well, you can't cover that which doesn't want covering. Black men are more married than black women by a landslide. It's almost 1 million more marriages than black women have. So to say that men aren't covering women who don't want to be covered is asinine and silly, because at the end of the day, men can't cover women who choose to operate from an ass backwards perspective. You do not have a baby for a man before he makes you his wife. So in the black community, we do these things that are ass backwards and expect traditional outcomes. If you don't go into a situation from a traditional standpoint, you cannot expect traditional outcomes, i.e. marriage, i.e. covering, i.e. children being raised in a two-parent healthy household. You are doing things, we have the knack in the black community to do things out of order and expect out of that mismanagement of order for things to be stable and constructed in a traditional outcome sense, when we're not doing it from a traditional standpoint of order. If you're doing things out of order, there are going to be steps that are missed. There are going to be things that are not done correctly. And when you're not doing things by their proper steps, you're not doing things in their correct context, you're going to get dysfunction. And you're going to get women and men who are both not doing the things they're supposed to do to, my phone is ringing, excuse me. You're going to get men and women doing things that are not cohesive to traditional outcomes of a family structure. That's why we don't have a community, a vibrant community. We have a dysfunctional community of single-led mother households and effeminized men. This is the problem, madam, of why these men are not covering anyone, because they don't have the capability or the faculties to do it, because they're not being raised to do so. This is a black community's problem on both ends. Stop trying to pretend as if it's just one party only doing these things. Let's go to the next one.
So why do women today want to be so separated? But because society has shaped us to believe I can do bad all by myself.
Yeah. The slogan.
And let me tell you, and it's I'm all for women empowerment. Shout out to you. You should have your own. You should be able to sustain yourself. You should be able to be an independent woman. However, it should not allow you to be cold and bitter to the ways that the Lord has ordained us to be.
Yeah.
He did not make us to do this work by ourselves.
Yeah.
And so the fact that society has rearranged what biblically was set for us as the foundation, and we coming from someone's rib, now we want to be apart from that so bad.
You're going to see a theme here with this. And I said it earlier. Doing things from an ass backwards perspective. Trying to take a recipe, take things out, put things in, and completely change the end product is always going to cause these issues. We have a fundamental problem of wanting to do things so differently in the black community, but expect the traditional outcomes of the past with the new recipe, but we're creating something completely different. So if you're creating something completely different than what the original recipe called for, you cannot expect the same thing. At this point, I'm getting sick and tired of people with these talking points over and over again. The issue in the black community is we're not doing things that produce traditional results. That's just all there is to it. You don't need to do scientific studies. You don't need to get on podcast after podcast and ask these questions. The reason we're not successful in the black community is because we're operating out of order. Let me say that one more time. We're operating out of order. We're doing things from a skewed perspective. We're pulling things out, adding things in, and we're changing the recipe of the successful outcome. And that's why we're getting these results. Quite frankly, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We have to go back to doing traditionalism. That's all it is to it, man. If we're gonna fix the black community, we have to get back to doing traditional things. That's just all it is to it. Nothing else. That's all I got, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get it cracking in the comments. I'll see y'all in the credits. 2 fingers. Peace. I'm out.
I'm making a difference.
Like Jesus.
Energy is fire. Conversation is right. If you stay tonight, baby, I might let you say, oh, hubby, want you here, need your mind in these sheets. Completely intertwined in our minds, yeah. Tell your future like a sign.